You have to nuke the whole building, Hans? Alright. You got me.
Still the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly.
Scary Cooper, asshole.
Enough jokes.
You made a pretty good cowboy yourself, Hans. Frank, too.
Yeah, what was it you said to me before? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Oh, demon! Happy trails, Hans.
Kick the red, double move on the red.
Yo everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here. So in this video, I want to rekindle an old debate that we would have every other week of the football season. And that was, when should Sidney Jones play? When should Sidney Jones play? Should he play when he's ready during the year? Should he play next year? Personally, I was on the side of, you sit him out the whole year, you give him the whole year to rest, you don't rush him back. And for the most part, that's what the Eagles did. They let him practice like the last 3 weeks. He played some in the Cowboys game. You couldn't really take anything out of it. But he did get a chance to get his feet wet. He didn't play in the Super Bowl. I don't think he played in any playoff games. And for the most part, they sat him out. Now when we look at Sidney Jones from right here, today, right after the draft, we are looking at a kid who is over a year removed from Achilles injury. And literally, if he was in this draft, he would be a top 10 pick. A top 10 pick. So, as Howie Roseman was saying in an article that I'll leave in the description box, he looks at Sidney Jones as part of this draft as 6 players and not 5 that we drafted. And when you look at it, you're looking at a top 10 talent coming onto this team. I think people forget how good Sidney Jones was coming out of the draft. There was a debate, a real big debate on whether him or Lattimore was the best corner. Now, I thought Lattimore was the best corner coming out of that draft. I think he proved it in the season he had. But if you had a healthy Jones, Sidney Jones last year, entering that draft, I would have picked him with the first pick that we had. That's how much I liked him. I don't even know he would have made it that far. Okay? The Eagles are going to get a top 10 cornerback talent this year back on that team. And I think it's a great thing. I think people underestimate how good this kid is. And I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to tear up the league for a rookie. He's going to have his ups. He's going to have his downs. But for the most part, he's going to be very solid. And I think at the end of the year, he will be an improvement, to what we had last year. So Sidney Jones is an easily forgettable person that we forget because he sat on the bench all year. But he is a legitimate top 10 talent. And now I'm very excited to have him back. And the reason why I didn't want to rush him back last year was because I wanted him to be fully recovered this year and be ready to go through everything, all the OTAs, all the camps, everything through preseason. So that way when he comes, he will start this year. But the Eagle fans, we sometimes we overlook this kid, we forget about this kid, but when you add him to that secondary and to that defense and what he can become, the Eagles secondary is looking mighty good. And yes, we're going to have to deal with the safety position in the near future because we got some older guys that are making a lot of money. Personally, I would love to see Rasul Douglas at safety. I think he could be an all-pro safety in this league. I think he would be a good fit. But Sidney Jones is coming back this year, and he's coming back full 100% healthy, ready to go, and we should be very, very excited about him. You're going to have Mills, you're going to have Darby, you're going to have Sidney Jones. You know what I mean? We're going to have these guys, and I can't wait to see him play. So with that said, Sidney Jones, watch out rest of the league, because we're adding a legitimate top 10 cornerback to this team this year. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.